Hi there, this is Jeff Watts, and today we're going to have Ben Young walking you through how to draw the human eye in a very lyrical and structured manner. He's going to walk you through some of the structural components as well as some of the skull components and really walk you through how to do a really good eye. So if you're interested in drawing features, this is the video for you.
The brow conforms to the skull information, right? So we need to pay attention to that underlying form more so than the specifics of that brow.
Hope you enjoy. Take care. Cheers.
So I'm just gonna block in that kind of sunglasses type shape. The eye socket. Something like that. And there's the other side over here, right? But basically this is the keystone shape, and then this is the orbital bone through here, and then the bottom of that eye socket comes down kind of like that. And then we have the ball of the eye inside of there. So it just sits inside there, and then there's the muscle, which is called the orbicularis oculi, that holds that in place. So the bony section here of the glabella is kind of like that around that plate. You can see that coming over. So, something like that. So I'm just kind of going over that part of the skull just because it's so important to drawing the eye. And then we have part of the inside of the nose and nasal bone here. And then we have the tear duct about right there. And then we look for the outside corner of the eye, and that should be higher, should go up to that. Some eyes vary a little bit, but structurally that's what happened. So there's a lot that goes on, right? You have different ages, right? Different types. So we might have that corner being the fold of the eye drooping across that to make it look lower. You might have different eyelid types cutting across that and changing that location a little bit where it looks somewhat like that, but structurally that is above the tear duct. And how much also a little bit depends on the type of the person, right? The ethnicity and that. So but it's just something you look at by case basis. And then let's see, so once we get kind of the eyebrow, which starts right here on the glabella, right? It starts underneath the eye socket essentially, and then it goes across that ridge right here, right? It goes across, and then it lays on the outside of the eyebrow. I'm sorry, the eye socket, like that. And then we have this unit here, and we want to look for something called the epicanthic fold, which is just the upper eyelid crease, basically. So let's see, that one is almost straight. And then there's basically something called the canthus, which is just the end of that fold. So there's one on the outside and one on the inside. Hard to see the one on the inside here, Sometimes it's more visible, but partly because it's in shadow, but also the just the way his lid kind of lines up with his tear duct area. It's kind of hard to see. And then we have the, basically the tear duct here, and then that comes up, and then this eye type is very close to that acanthic fold. They kind of even overlap slightly. And there's this semi-linear fold, which is basically just the eye in the tear duct here next to each other, and it has like a little moon shape sort of. And let's see, there's sometimes a little bit of like a shape around the tear duct like that. There is a gland in here too, in this area, and sometimes that will droop down. I'm not really seeing that, but that is something to be aware of. What you also want to be aware of is the high points here. So in this lid right here, the high point I would say is about there. Here, this is kind of flat across there, and that's going to vary depending on the person, but a lot of times what we're looking for is the inner corner is higher here, and then on the outside it's the lower corner. So there's a little bit of an angle like that you're usually looking for in an eye. So you don't want just like those generic almond shapes. You want to look for that, and it becomes very important when we start to deal with more perspective. And so then something like that. And again, low. There is a corner here. This is a little longer usually and higher up. So you have high low there, high low there. And that's some of the angles that we're looking for. Yeah, so then there's this furrow sometimes you'll see off of the eye. It's just a little bit visible here, like that. And then that, probably a little bit below that, is really where the eye socket would be. I probably made that a little big. Okay, then we drop into that the pupil and iris here, which was just a circle. A lot of times it's overlapped though by the upper and lower lid, so it can kind of flatten out because of that, along those edges, depending on how much that is overlapping. Let's see. Get the highlight there, and then of course the pupil right in the middle. And there's a little straight here before that turns and goes down. Let's see, the form shadow in this instance is kind of coming along this underside here. So that's pretty standard, is under that keystone shape. And then kind of comes along there. jogs over on that little shape. And yeah, we just kind of group all of that into shadow over here. And then over on this side, shadow on that lower lid. And it's hard to tell, but probably the wide of the eye would have that as well. It would make sense, right? Maybe push this over just a little bit. And then you have this dark little ring around the pupil, sorry, the iris, the colored part of the eye, like that. It's important to kind of note that while it is dark, is not hard. It's actually pretty soft. It's kind of a blurry ring, and so you don't want to make that too hard. Where you want to keep your harder edges usually in the eye is on the highlight and maybe in the folds and creases more. So this casts a shadow down onto the upper portion of that iris, and then that leaves this kind of in light down here. A lot of times there's going to be dark right under that highlight, and I'll go over that in a little bit. And you know, so something like that might get a little bit of light coming down on this top of the lower lid. We'll get a little cast shadow from the lashes here onto the white of the eye, which is called the sclera. And let's see, you got, yeah, so essentially the eyebrow, and that has a growth to it, so the hairs usually kind of like that, and then kind of like that. So that can help with the marks you're making and the angles you're using. Right? This kind of folds under. And you can see a little bit of light right where this ridge of the brow is coming along the eyebrow like that. So that form underneath there, right, is somewhat the values here are dependent on that. So it's you know, we're looking for the form, not the the brow conforms to the skull information, right? So we need to pay attention to that underlying form more so than the specifics of that brow, and you want to kind of emphasize that a little bit more, even sometimes than you might see, just to make that feel like it's on top of the skull, right? We don't want it to feel like it's kind of drawn on. We want it to feel like you can see that three-dimensional form underneath it, and it's part of it, and it's just draping across it. Let's see, probably a little bit of halftone coming off of that, rolling up to that area, just like there's a little bit of halftone here, creating that little light plane that hits that corner of the bone, and you know, getting a little bit of halftones over here, a little bit on the underplane here. So And this is a fold, right? So it should have kind of a harder edge on the bottom because the light's coming from above, softer above. So you want to get that relationship. And here we have, keep in mind this is mostly in light. And I want to just indicate the lash, and for the most part keep it soft and keep it light. Kind of lighten some of these construction lines and get the overall effect of the form of the ball of the eye going on, because we don't want individual parts to become more important than the overall form. Just like the brow isn't more important, sorry, the eyebrow isn't more important than the brow or the skull information.
All right, you guys, if you like what you've been seeing on our channel and you like the content that we've been doing, please like and subscribe. You know the routine. It helps us a lot just to be inspired to want to continue doing this stuff with your guys' support. So we love you guys. It's great having you guys on, watching what we do. We're very passionate about it. We have our online program. We have our brick and mortar. If you guys want to, click below in the description box, you can go link over to our website and check out what we've got going on. All right. Thanks a bunch, and hopefully see you in some more videos. And if you do like this stuff, please share it with somebody, another aspiring artist. I think it would, be really helpful for them. Okay? Cheers. Thanks a bunch.